you have a price target there of $460. We know that Zoom lifting its full-year forecast as sales are surging, but there are lots of concerns about security, a lot of criticism about how it's tackling that, and reports as well of hacking. Do you think the company is doing enough to tackle these issues?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think, early in the pandemic, remember, Zoom was a tool that was made for businesses to do video conferencing. It was never meant to be a consumer tool, but because of the pandemic, all these consumers adopted it, schools adopted it out of necessity. And there was a lot of the early reports that we saw, in my opinion, were actually user error, right? People not changing their meeting IDs, people not using passwords or waiting rooms. In spite of this, though, I think Zoom has done a very impressive job of investing in security and privacy and even doing end-to-end encryption. In fact, they stopped all product development and spent 90 days 100% focused on security. And I think that was a right move. That's how you win back the trust of users. And so I think Zoom is absolutely on the right track when it comes to the security and privacy concerns and really invested a lot of money to do that.
The other company you also like is Atlasian Corporation, but the company, even though it's providing a whole suite of tools to work smarter in a digital environment, it recently flagged slowing growth in its earnings because a lot of the smaller companies under its belt are actually suffering.
Yeah, and that's something that we're seeing with a lot of these enterprise software companies that have a lot of customers that are small startups or SMBs. They are seeing a little softness there. That said, I think Atlassian has a very unique benefit, because exactly like you mentioned, they're selling software tools that make it easier for people to work in a distributed manner. B, it's something that especially technology workers in the IT department or software developers need to do their job. And then third, their products are very cheap, and they very much pride themselves on that. And that really positions them well for this environment where they don't need to have expensive salespeople. So I think they're not getting that same big spike in demand that you're seeing out of a company like Zoom, but they're also holding up better than most of your other software companies.
Right. Another stay-at-home trend, Rishi, has been online gaming. And broadly speaking here, not getting into specifics, but how do you see this business model, because it's also subscription-based, differentiating itself from what we've discussed thus far?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, somewhere in between a Zoom and a Peloton, right? Because you really aren't making a large initial purchase. You're actually, I think, getting more people that may not have been playing games or that may not have opted into some of these subscription services to start paying for them. And I think they'll stick. And so, maybe it looks more like a Netflix where you're getting a lot more customers initially, but those customers are going to stay there. So I actually do think the video game companies are going to continue to do well. I think the video game platforms, like the Nintendos and Microsoft with their Xbox and Sony with PlayStation, they're going to continue to be on the right trajectory. So I would be bullish on the gaming space as well.